Hey guys, it's the presenter here. Level 3. We're through the looking glass now, people. So, what we're going to do is look at some of the advanced customization features that you can play with on Microsoft Word. This is really, the good stuff. Level 1, we learned how to use Microsoft Word a little bit. Level 2, we learned, some of its features and different ways that we can use it. And this next section is all about, the creme de la creme of epicness that Microsoft Word has to offer. These are the advanced skills. I know that sounds pretty daunting, a little intimidating, but it's still fairly easy, guys. Okay? So let's crack into it and have a bit of a go, eh? Okay, guys. So this is the document we're going to play with. Okay? You can see we've got a great big list here of different animals, I guess. We've got an empty table, as well as a great big piece of text. Perfect. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at multi-level bulleting, okay? So we've played with bullets in the past. You can pick your favorite bullet and it comes up like that, okay? So all of the bullets are the same and they're all aligned in the same way. What we're going to be looking at with multi-list bulleting is having it so that some of the bullets will be like heading bullets and then there will be sub-bullets after that. So how to do multi-level bulleting is still fairly easy. You'll see here the list of the 3 bulleting types, your bullets, your numbers. The one on the right is multi-level list. So I'm going to hit the arrow down and you can see it's got a whole bunch of options for us. So we could have the top bullet as 1 and then 1.1, 1.11, blah blah blah, all the way down. The one I really quite like is just your basic 1, A and I. So I'm going to click that. Now you see it's popped up our list of bullets, 1 all the way down to 16. But it's not going to stay that way. So in this list I've got cats. Underneath it I want it to have fluffy, not so fluffy, and then in a third sub-bullet, bald. So all we do is click in front of Fluffy and tab. You'll see that it's gone 1A. And you'll see as we do it, the numbers are changing along the side. So we know that it's formatted correctly. And then bald, we want that to be a subcategory of not as fluffy. So you can see that it's creating a really nice way of organizing our data or our text as sub-bullets. So let's do the dogs. I've spelt that wrong, that should be big, not bid. So we've got big, small, and dogs that are so small that they're faux dogs. Horses, we have ponies, stallions, and sharks, we have great white, hammerhead, spinner, and oceanic whitetip. So you can see through our multi-level bullet that we have organized it so that we have subcategories in our multi-level bullet system. This is really quite cool. And it's very eye-catching, It's very easy to see what is in which category. And it's also very easy to play with the tabs. to move all the text around. You're just going to use the little triangles up in your ruler, okay? So that is nice and easy. So I don't expect you to have any problems doing this at all. Next, what we're going to have a look at, check my camera's still recording because sometimes it just stops. We are going to be having a look at some in-depth table features. So here's a table that I prepared earlier. So firstly, what we want to do is we want to have a look at the cell height. So I've highlighted my cells in my table, okay, and I want to go into Table Tools, Design, Layout. Now, we've played with this before, well, at least this tab before. You know, we've split cells and we've merged cells, and we may have even inserted some columns or rows in previous levels, well, previous qualifications. But over here, sort of central, you'll see we've got height and width. And this is where we control our cell height and our cell width. So you see how it's changing the size. You can also pop in your own number. So if you wanted it to be exactly 0.75 centimeters tall, you just pop in 0.75 centimeters and the cells will automatically use that size dimension. So that's how you change the height and the width. It's easy enough, eh? There's also a bunch of other things we can do, okay? We can play with our borders. That's easy enough. We go into Table Tools, Design, Borders, and this is where we can say we don't want a bottom border, or sorry, I highlighted too much there. Let's say we want to have just the outside borders, but turn off the inside borders. Now it's just a big square, but you can see that the table still recognizes the cells inside of it. So we can pop those back in if we wanted to. So that's just an easy way of playing with your cell borders, okay? Alignment is also pretty easy. Alignment is just to the right of where we were playing with height and width in our layout tab. You'll see, and depending on which version of Word you're playing on, it might be a little different, but it should be in the same sort of area and it'll do the exact same thing. We can play with our alignment. Now, clicking that while there's nothing in the cells is actually not going to help us at all. So let's put some numbers in our cells. That's not even a number. Okay, so we've got some numbers. If I highlight it and I change the alignment, we've got top left. You can see the numbers went to the top left of their cells. We've got central. The numbers move into a central position. We've got bottom right. And I'm sure you've guessed by now that the numbers go to the bottom right of their cell. So have a play around with that. It's nice and easy, okay? Another skill you're going to have to do is split cells. So let's say I want to split this cell here. I just go up to split cells. I want it to have 3 columns, but only be still 1 row, we can see that I now have 4 columns in what used to be 1 column. This can be pretty handy sometimes if you've, need to fix up your table if you've made a mistake, or you just want to have maybe a line in your table which looks pretty cool, okay? Sort of like a stylistic choice there. All about design and looks and just making it look a little bit different. That's okay too. We know how to merge cells. So let's say we wanted to merge this here, this top row, so we could put a title in it. All we had to do was highlight it and click merge cells up the top. So now I can put in a title. Let's say random numbers and stuff. I think that's a pretty good title for this table full of random numbers that mean absolutely nothing. Okay. Sorting is pretty easy. Sorting is something that I'm pretty sure we've done before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some numbers in here. Let's say we want to sort this table, okay? We highlight the table and we just go sort. And this is in the design, Table Tools Layout tab. We can sort by column 1. In this example, we're sorting by column 2 because I want it to have these numbers as the sorting. I've only got numbers in here, so it's going to be type number. But you can also sort it if it was text. So I'll show you that in a second. So essentially this is going to be sort by number ascending. So it will go from lowest at the top to the highest number at the bottom. And by changing these around, it's actually changed everything over here as well. So everything that was, say, in the 88 row moved down when it got sorted. But let's say we had some text, okay? So let's say Apple, Mandarin, Orange, Banana. Okay. Let's say we want that in alphabetical order. We just hit sort and change the type from number to text. You see, we can also do it by date as well. And then we hit OK. And for some reason that has put orange at the top. Because it's still sorting by column 2. So I want it to sort by column 1. So essentially what I had just tried to do was I had this selected here as column 2. So it was sorting by column 2 and somehow trying to do numbers by alphabetical order. That's a mistake by me, but it's a good mistake because now I can show you how to fix it. So sort by column 1, by text ascending, we can see that it is now all in alphabetical order. That's actually more handy than you can realize, to be honest. Like if you've got a massive table, and this works in Microsoft Excel as well, and you need to figure out, something by order of dates or by order of who's, like, amounts of money, something like that. It's a very easy way of doing it. The last trick I'm going to show you is going to be shading. Shading is pretty easy. In our design tab, Just above borders, we have shading. This is where we can put in a nice colour. I'm going to use green because that's Capital Training's colour. We can also go down to more colours and create our own sort of palette. So custom is where it gets pretty funky. Okay? So just play around with this. This over here plays with the vibrancy of the colour, so light and darkness of the colour. And this is where you can select. So let's say I want an orange-ish, and I want it very dark. So it's almost a brown. Yeah, that's quite the colour, isn't it? Okay. So I know that I said that that was going to be the last little bit for tables, but I've decided that I lied just because reasons. Sorry about that, but this is really cool, okay? So let's say we've got our numbers here. Easy enough. Let's say that I want to make a row that is totals. Okay, so I might change the color of this back to no color. Hey, no color. Thank you. And I wanted totals. So I wanted to say, well, I want to know how much fruit is in this column. And I want to know how much is in this column, and in this column, and in this column. I could get my calculator out, and I could type that in using my calculator. But what happens if later on I know that I'm going to be inserting rows, inserting more data later on, so pineapples. Then I'd have to get my calculator out again, and it just takes a long time. What I could do is I could create a formula to automatically do it for me and to automatically update when I make changes. To do that, you just click in the cell that you want the total to be in, and in layout, and this should be the same for any type of word that you're using, you're just going to go and hit formula, and you're going to go equals sum above. Okay. And what that's done is that said, okay, well, equals sum above, that's going to be that, plus that, plus that, plus that. So let's just double check that. 88 plus 4 is 92, and then plus 3 is 95, plus 5 equals 100. It works. So that's how you just put in a cheeky formula into Microsoft Word's tables. That's easy enough, eh? That should be enough to get you through the upcoming work. But if you're really keen, you can also just explore and see what else you can find using tables, and then let your tutor know. Cool. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at columns. If you've done level 2 here, you'll know all about columns, okay? You'll know what they are, why we use them, and you'll know how to get them set up too. So highlight everything that you wanted to be columned. Page layout, columns. So this is where we can pick 1, 2, 3 columns, or we can go into more columns here. Okay, I'm just going to hit 2 columns for this. Okay, sussed. Now if we go into columns, more columns, this is where we can start playing with things, okay? We can start playing with having a line in between the columns. You see that brings our line up here. We can play with the width of our columns. Okay, so that shows us how wide they are. Now, when we're doing that, we'll see that the spacing here is changing, okay? That spacing, this number here, is actually the space in between your two columns. So let's say I want the space between my columns to be 1.2 centimeters. The space between this column here and this column here is now 1.2 centimeters. Seems pretty easy, right? Okay. We're also going to have to play with column breaks. Okay, now this isn't going to look all that spectacular on my document, but at the end of the column, what you can do is go to page layout breaks and you can hit column break, okay? And this just indicates that the text following the column break will begin in the next column. That doesn't mean us a hell of a lot, eh? But what if I did it halfway up, okay? So let's say I want this in one column and then everything else to start in the next column. Well, I could press enter a bunch of times, or I could try column break. And so that means that everything else has been moved. Perfect. I don't know why you would want to do that, to be honest. Maybe if you were going to insert a picture below here and you wanted to leave some space and you didn't want to press enter a whole bunch of times, that might help. So that's one skill that can be handy, I guess. Okay, justification is also another really good idea when you're writing in columns, because it does look kind of messy, right? I might just undo that. So our columns, they look messy. So we'll just go ahead and we'll go home and just justify them, okay, with the alignment. And that just makes them look really nice. I tend to justify most of my work now. So it's just a good habit to get into, okay? So make sure that when you're working with columns, justify them so that they don't look average, okay? Now, there's a few things that you might end up writing, okay? One of them could be a newspaper article. Now, newspaper articles are pretty unique little beasts, okay? And they are often in 3 columns. Or 2 columns. Okay? And what newspaper articles have is they have a lot of paragraphs, a lot of very short paragraphs, okay? So if you're trying to write a newspaper article, try and keep your paragraphs as short as you possibly can, okay? And that's how you write in newspaper style. That's really quite easy. Let's say that we had to put a banner up, okay? That's easy as well. Because I've already made my columns, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back into one piece, okay? If I wanted to put in a banner, it's always easier to do this before you make your columns, okay? Just to create your banner headline, your title. Let's say this is going to be banner headline. Oh man, my spelling is off today. Like, beyond belief. Okay, let's say we bold that up. Control E. Okay. So we wanted our headline, and then we wanted everything to be in columns underneath it, but we didn't want the headline to be in columns. From here, we just highlight what we want to be columned, and then insert the columns. Done. Easy. That's it. It's quite simple, eh? And then from here, you know, you can do whatever you like, really. You could put a little border around it. You could change how it looks. That's quite nice, eh? That's a nice banner headline. Maybe put one on top as well. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. That's looking pretty smooth, if I may say so myself. Yeah, that's quite cool. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to do with this is we're going to have a look at creating a really big enhanced first letter. If you've done level 2 already, you know how to do this. It's a drop cap. So we can just go dropped. And then from there, we can change the size of our drop cap or the font, color, whatever we want, okay? So again, that was insert, drop cap. And you can play with all sorts of different options. So that is pretty much all you're going to be doing with columns, okay? That's nice and easy. Now, there are a few other things that we may have to play with. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that drop cap. I actually can't. There we go. Just delete everything. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of being columns. Okay. Few different things that you're going to have to play with just in terms of default settings. We know how to change our margins. That's easy. We know how to go into custom margins and play with it all. We know how to change our paper size. Okay. We know how to play with the orientation of our document. That's nice and easy. We've had a look at some different paragraph formats, so that's pretty easy as well. We've gone through a few times all of our printer settings, so we know how to change printers, we know how to change the properties, so selecting how many copies we want, we know how to staple it, we know how to change it into color. So that's all stuff that you should know by now, hopefully, okay? So that's nice and easy. We can also play with first line indents. So we highlight our text with first line indents, okay? We just right click on our mouse, go into paragraph, that brings up all of these options here. Now, you're going to see a little title here called indentation. That's what we want. And we want to select first line, okay? And then we are going to, let's say, 1 centimeter. Now you'll see the first line in every paragraph has automatically been indented 1 centimeter. That's pretty handy, to be honest. Like, it just makes your text stand out a little bit. And there are paragraph formats that require this, okay? So that's how you do that. We're going to need to throw in some page numbers, okay guys? So insert page number. You can choose from top of the page, left, middle, right, bottom of the page, left, middle, right. Okay, so I might go top right. And you can see that we now have our numbers. Okay, awesome. Now, if you're really looking for something unique, then what you can do is play with some of these formats. Okay, some of these options we have here. We can have it different on the first page. So the first page will say salamander, and then each page after that will be 2, 3, 4, and so on, okay? We can have different odds and even pages, so you could go 1, B, 3, D, 5, F. Okay, so you could have even pages as numbers and odd pages as letters. That would be absolutely awful, but it's something that you could do. You can also get rid of your numbers altogether and just have ABC or Roman numerals, okay? And if you ever write a document such as a thesis or a scientific article, they do have very specific ways in which you have to number the pages of your document. So that's just something to look out for. But that's just how you play with some of the numbering options, okay? Let's say that you have something that you always type into a document, okay? So let's say it's, well, hello there, or to whom it may concern. And let's say you get sick of typing that out time and time and time again, and you want it to just be a button that you can select. Well, you can actually make that, and it's pretty easy. Okay, so what you want to do with auto text is it's really easy to put in, okay? You type out what you never want to type again, or what you want to save as a piece of auto text. So what I've typed out is, I really want to never type this out again. That sounds fair, eh? So what we do is insert quick parts, okay? Save selection to quick part gallery. So now its name is I really want. So we just check that this is okay. So quick parts, category general, description laziness or efficiency, you choose. Okay, so now let's say I have to type that out again, but I don't want to. I go into quick parts, okay, auto text, or building blocks organizers, and I could either find it down here. That's really quite tricky, isn't it? Or we could just go General, I really want to never type this out again. Bang! And we've just saved and then used some auto text. We're pretty trendy, I think. Right. Lastly, let's say we want to make some words up, okay? Let's say that we are just a walking dictionary or really creative, okay? So let's say that we make a word up that isn't in the English language. So something I hear quite often is the word scucks. So let's try that. Now you can see I've typed it in and we've got that awful red line of doom under it, okay? What we can do though is we can tell Microsoft Word that it is a word and that it should stop having a little bit of a freak out about it. So what we do is we just run our spelling and grammar check in the review tab, and now it says this word scucks is not in our dictionary. What are we going to do? Well, we could ignore it, we could change it, or we could add it to the dictionary, and that's it. That's how you do it. Now that word is added to the dictionary and you'll never see that little red line again. So I know this was a fairly grunty video, guys, but you get that in level 3. You're in the big leagues now, okay? None of this stuff was overly hard. And if you do get stuck on something, you know, Google is your best friend. You can just type in on Google, you know, how do I make a banner headline in Word? Or how do I insert a formula into my table? And it will show you a step-by-step method of how to do that. So try the next few exercises. Try not to have too much fun. And I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later.